Hello everyone, this is R.E.P Valkyrie Pri. Today I'm going to talk to you about a great movie called Wonder Woman 84. That's right, we have seen it and now we're going to give you the lowdown on this new fantasy superhero flick from the DC universe. So grab a drink, sit down and tune in to another great episode of Thor, aka the House of R.E.P.
All right, I want to thank Pri for that amazing intro and welcome her to the show.
Thank you.
So, Pri, this is amazing, yeah? So, Wonder Woman 84 came out and we got a look at the film, and really, really, really good things going on. Patty Jenkins is a very good director. She's done a very good job on this film. It has a great balance of action. It has some compelling, characters. So, Gal Gadot's back as Wonder Woman. I still have to say that I am not entirely convinced that she fits the Wonder Woman shoes well. She's done a few films, but to me, she still feels very wooden, and some of that's kind of still there in her performance in this film. But other than that, the movie is really fun. It's a good film. So let's talk about it. So Pri, tell me your thoughts on this movie.
Well, I was quite excited, and I really wanted to see this movie, and we got the chance to see it today. And the best part, like I like the how the movie started,
Hmm.
with this athletic competition they
That was
had.
very cool.
I know, and the little girl, I didn't get her name, but she was really good as well. Like
Mm.
she looked like Wonder Woman, little girl.
Yeah, that was
She
a really cool bit because she's like little and they're all big and she's chasing them. And we have a couple of Amazonians also returning who actually ended up perishing fighting the disciple of Darkseid. So his what was it? What was the general guy's name? The guy who came through the portal. I've forgotten his name.
which wardrobe?
Steppenwolf. So
Okay.
Steppenwolf came and attacked the Amazonians. He was after the Amazonians' mother box in Justice League, or should I say Justice League? So Josh Whedon kind of ruined that version of the film, and Zack's coming back with his original vision. So we've seen a lot of great trailers for the movie right now, and it's looking really promising. So this is starting that whole HBO Max kind of streaming thing because of the pandemic. So basically, Wonder Woman's available on there and in cinemas. So VOD is most likely the major way everyone's gonna watch it. So it's something new and it's very different, to experience a theatrical release of a feature film on VOD. I'm still hoping that when I get one of my feature films off the ground, that it will be theatrically released because I love that cinema experience and I'm missing that a lot. The pandemic has kind of taken that away, and I love the spectacle of seeing something on a big screen, rear projected, in all of its glory with the sound. Now, home cinema systems and home theaters are one thing. I do love watching films in my own setup, like on a good OLED or a full array, or on a back projector, like a laser projector. But I also really love going to the cinema, sitting in the seat and experiencing that with the rest of the people there. There's an energy there I get off people, and that's what I've always loved about film. And for me as a filmmaker, it's that tingle down the back of my spine that I'm always chasing. I'm always chasing that kind of amazing spectacle. And there's moments in this film that have that. There's really great action scenes that remind me of Indiana Jones when I was a kid. There's really good moments that feel like a good episode of Power Rangers. So it's quite a mix of everything this film has, and Patty's quite good. Let's talk about the mall scene. That bit was really cool, right? So that was a really nice bit, right? When those guys tried to rob the mall and she came and started taking them out. That was a really cool scene, right?
Yes, but I'm still stuck at that first scene, by the way, the opening one regarding the athletic competition. The thing that I want to say about, when the aunt, lectured this little girl,
Mm-hmm.
no true hero is born from lies. I mean, that's such a great example because, hero are the lead example. They lead people, they guide people people.
Mm.
And this is a true legendary teacher, I would say, the aunt teaching her how to be, not to win by faults. She
Mm.
was
Mm.
cheating, and
Mm.
she wanted to win, but she was able to. I mean, her aunt teaches her to overcome that. That winning is good, but you need to do it in the right way.
Mm.
So
Mm.
I think I like that.
Honestly, isn't
Yes,
it?
in honesty, and you
Yeah.
have to lead people by example, and that's a great scene that I like at the
Yeah.
beginning of the
Yeah.
scene. And yes, back to what you were saying about the mole part.
Yeah, but I jumped ahead. Let me go back to this Colosseum bit. The Colosseum bit was a very, very, very well laid out. The traps,
Yes.
the hurdles. It felt like a very old, sort of like, like the original Greco Olympics. What the Olympics are based on that we see nowadays. It felt very much like that. So there was javelin throwing, archery.
Mm.
There was a triathlon bit where Diana runs with all of her sisters, and then there's like podiums that they have to jump across. There's
Yes.
like this rotating ladder.
Yes.
So spoiler
Oh,
alert, I forgot to
yeah.
say that we're gonna have a spoiler alert on the start of this, but if you're
Oops.
listening to this and you haven't seen the film yet, watch the film first and then listen to this podcast. So just a pre-warning to you guys before. There will be a spoiler zinger on the actual episode, so you know whether or not to listen to this. Like, you can listen to it if you want, if you don't mind, or you can listen to it after you see the film. But that Colosseum bit is a highlight of the film.
Yes.
Good, really good stunt work.
And I like the fact,
Yeah.
like, the little girl like climb, and I was like, everybody's running through that part, and she climb over, but she
Mm.
actually climbed to turn that leather
Yeah,
type,
gave herself some
and then
momentum.
she push, she used her talent, to pass that, to reach that goal. I mean, it was a very nice opening, I would say,
Mm.
and the way
Mm.
they opened to that beautiful island, the
Yeah,
opening scene,
Themyscira.
and
Yeah.
then that round thing. What do you call that?
Like, the Colosseum itself,
Yes,
like the
yes,
whole
yes.
arena.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the arena. It was very. It was nice opening.
Mm.
And what was the next scene that you were talking about, honey?
Well, essentially, what happens is that, like, after Diana starts taking the lead, there's a really nice archery bit where she's on horseback, and that photography on that beach that they shot it on looked very
Oh,
cinematic, and it was very beautiful
oh
tracking.
yes,
Then she takes out, like the arrow, like the target she needs to flare
yeah,
her blue banner, and her
yeah,
mom is like, "Oh, my daughter's doing really great," and
yeah.
stuff. But then what happens is that she falls off because she's a bit too overconfident,
Distracted, like she was a bit.
and
She
she
turned around
loses
to
her
check,
horse.
like,
Yeah.
and yeah,
And she also loses her bow, but then she carries on without thinking. So she ends up missing her sort of like checkpoint.
yeah,
Slides down this massive like slide because some rock fell, like from sediment or something, and kind of like she ended up catching up to her horse, beating everybody. But as she's about to throw the javelin, her aunt stops her,
yeah,
and then she gets really upset. She's like, "Why'd you do that?" And then that's where that really poignant speech comes from
yeah.
Daryl Hannah. So it's very, 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 very cool.
It's a
It's
nice
a very,
opening.
very good opening. Then it
Yeah.
fast forwards to the 1980s, and we get to see Pedro Pascal's introduction as Max Lord. So he's kind of like a kind of TV personality, oil kind of baron, and what he's been doing is trying to basically make his oil company succeed. So from the actual front of the world, he's a successful oil, like a oil drilling kind of. His company's doing well. They're called Black Label or something like that. I can't remember what they're called, but basically, in truth, though, he's basically bought up land that has no oil, or is struggling to find oil, and because of that, he's going out of business. So the front of his company looks like it's really good, but the it's an empty shell. And like, even his business partner kind of accosts him and says, "Look, this is a Ponzi scheme. You've kind of like screwed us all over. I want the money back." So he's really kind of like trying to make it for his son. He's estranged from his wife. She's with like another man now, and he's got kind of sort of like because he's separated, he has visitation rights, and when his son comes, it's very difficult for him to prove to his son that he's, like worthy. Of
Yeah.
he feels kind of like a shame. And I think this is because later on you find out that his background was very sad. He was abused. He
Yeah.
had a bad father figure, and but in he's become a better father because of his son. So
Mm.
so those are some really important kind of anchor points in the story, and I really like that about his character because I was really afraid that he was going to be one of those pastiche kind of like paper cookie cut kind of villains, like, oh, I've got money, I want power, and like the stuff, like his attempt for power was through some kind of desperate need to succeed, and that's something that we sometimes have as humans. Like, even I want to succeed as a filmmaker and be where Patty is right now and make big films, but because I'm at the indie level, it sometimes feels like that destination is an impossible task. But because I have people like Pri in my life, I have my brothers, my Rep Knights, I have the Rep Valkyrie, I have my family. Um, I know I can succeed. I know that you guys will see my films and really appreciate them because I've come from the ground. Like I've come from basically just having a single camera and trying to make things work. I haven't come from, a place of like super, where everything is a privilege, like everything's kind of handed to me. I had to basically forge myself in the trenches. I had to bleed for this. And that's why I take it very seriously. I take my craft very seriously. Everything about what the Rep Nights are, what we do, is is a testament to that strength we have, that inner strength.
And just to add on that, honey, I've been telling you, and I'm telling everybody out there listening to us, every single human being in this world is born for a reason, all right? Everyone has their part. Do not compare with other people. That will really hinder your own goal. Every individual has their own goal. You will shine at the right time. You
Mm,
have to be patient. You have to face the hurdle. Take it as a test because every hurdle is a test. Once you pass the test, you're going to reach your ultimate goal. Every single individual in this world has their time to shine. Wait
mm.
for it, but never stop trying. Keep going, keep trying, keep your goals, keep reaching that, and never give up. If you give up, that's the time you become a failure. As long as you don't give up, you keep trying. When you fall, you get up and just go reaching that goal. This is what I want to tell everybody listening out there, and I've been telling Ray as well.
Mm,
Time will come to shine. Just wait for it. It will
mm.
happen. Never give up. That's the only thing I can say to everybody.
That's very true, and very wise words from our Valkyrie. The thing is also is that when you fail, it's a very good teacher. Now,
Yes.
I've tried many films that have flopped, like projects that I thought would come out really good, but something along the line, there was a setback, there was a financial challenge, there was something not working in the schedule. We still made them work. There's so many, like the end result is not exactly what you have pictured it to be, but sometimes you have to let the film go. You have to let it get out there. I could have spent years in the editing room trying to fix films, and so eventually you have to let it go and then move on. So the thing is that it's always good to just have these kind of lessons, and that's what's good about making short films and being at this level. I have the freedom to experiment. I don't have a studio telling me what needs to be done, what type of timetable needs to happen, but I can do those kind of films, ones that are in a crunch, those summer 10th poles and stuff like that. I can deliver those results for them on those huge budgets and make them very efficient because I've done it here. With the smaller budgets. Like I've made stuff with shoestring budgets. I've made stuff with medium to large budgets. So basically, because of that, because I've been in the trenches and I've done stuff from the ground up, I can deliver. And that's what they did here on this film. So this film also, has a very competent director of photography. They did an amazing job on the film. The whole photography crew filmed it really well. Costume department did a great job with the different kinds of costumes of the era, recreating that amazing 80s look.
Yeah.
The action and choreography was amazing because we got to see
Yes.
Wonder Woman actually doing amazing stuff with her, that kind of Amazonian, Greek god power she has inside her.
Yes.
And I'm a huge fan of the Greek god kind of,
Me
fantasy
too.
kind of stories. I've always been a huge fan of Zeus, and because of Hercules: A Legendary Journey and Xena, they were like my favorite shows growing up. I love the action and stuff with those. Sam Raimi really did a great job on producing those things. Kevin Sorbo, Lucy Lawless, they were all amazing in that series. That kind of fantasy of the Greek gods was very appealing, and also God of War was very good. And I've got my own kind of spin on the Greek gods I want to do. So there's a lot of great stuff on the way. It's a really nice, like, the sky's the limit when it comes to these kind of demigods,
Yeah.
ancient gods. These kind of storylines. I also like the Norse mythology. Thor, and like the Asgardians and things like that. So it's really cool. And this film balances that quite well.
Yeah.
Also, Steve Trevor returns, which is very interesting.
Yeah.
There's some kind
I
of
mean, that's when she wished, right? I mean, she was
yeah,
like, because what's his name again? The
Maxwell Lord.
yeah, he was trying to get hold of this artifact.
Yeah,
It's called
like
the Dream Stone.
there's some kind of old god who cursed the stone to
Yeah.
give wishes.
Yeah.
And she's talking about how her whip is imbued. The
The
lasso
god
of truth is
name is
imbued by something, right? Truth. So this one was this crystal that they uncover is imbued with some sort of deceptive kind of light.
basically it was created by Dolos, the god of
Dollars.
treachery and mischief.
Right. Okay.
And it basically grants a user their wish but exacts a toll.
Right.
And the
Okay.
only way to reverse is to exchange is by renouncing the wish
Right.
or
Right.
destroying
Right.
the stone
Right.
itself. I mean, at the end of the day, Wonder Woman was literally trying to find where is this, and that's where where she met Steve, because she wished for it in the office, isn't
Yeah,
it?
like inadvertently, like after she took out the people in the mall. So basically, Max Lord paid some guys to find ancient relics, and they knew about this jewelry shop in this mall that was a front for these secret black market trading of ancient kind of relics. So they were like statues of Zeus, Roman statues, other artifacts, and there was the crystal, the wishing. This called the Dream Stone.
Yeah,
So basically, the Dream Stone is
grant your
there,
wish.
and they steal it. But what happens is that Wonder Woman's on patrol. So what she's been doing is that in the time that she's been living on the Earth, she's been sort of like very, very, very carefully saving people. So
Yeah,
what she does is she smashes security cameras
yeah,
or anything that has kind of evidence of her and stuff. But
existence.
there's a slight continuity error, or like, not, I wouldn't say a continuity error, but there's a bit of a plot hole, because it's like, where are the tapes of those cameras? Because if she smashed the cameras up
Oh
with
yeah.
her thing, then they still got taped evidence of her, like fighting people. But the way she takes out those guys is wicked. The way they choreograph that, the stunt work, the crew, the people,
Mm.
Patty's direction, and what she wants visually, and the way she works with the crew. They have a very good synergy, and I love that. I love it when the crew and the director have that pace,
Yeah.
and everyone's really bringing the heat. So physically, Gal's there. Like, she can move around and do the stuff, but her physique, her, like her style, like her look, it doesn't totally match the way Wonder Woman looks, fully. So the thing is that I've seen a lot of sort of like depictions of Wonder Woman over the years, and my favorite type of Wonder Woman is the one that's more Amazonian. So the one that has like the sword, the shield, more battle hardened.
Mm.
And I kind of deter away from that, super beautification bimbo Wonder Woman that they made, because originally Wonder Woman was kind of like a little bit of a kind of light kind of bondage fetish of the creator. He would like lasso her up or tie her up. It was a way for him to kind of express express his fantasies, and it was very much kind of like it was a very insular way of looking at how a superheroine could be. Now, when Wonder Woman evolved to become this like amazing Amazonian powerhouse and part of the trinity of the Justice League, she really had her time to shine, and she was an amazing character. So she was portrayed in this with this amazing beauty, but she had intelligence and power, and that's really important. And this tries to do that, but I still am very off-putted by Gal's performance. I still think she's very wooden, and everything feels very forced with her. And it's difficult for her to express any kind of struggle or emotion, which without looking childish and kind of like like a lack of, I don't know, there's like a lack of conviction in some of the scenes. And this is just the kind of feeling I got with her. So it's tolerable and I enjoy them, but I still think Gal's not a great choice to play Wonder Woman. There were other fantastic actresses out there. I'm sure they could have found a very talented Greek actress to play her, so it would have been more accurate to her background. But it is what it is. You have to just roll with it. So yeah, let's just see how she carries on progressing with the role. What do you think of Gal's performance, Brie?
Uh, well, I haven't seen other Wonder Woman as
Mm,
you have seen,
mm,
so that's why I guess you're able to portray the Wonder Woman character much more than myself. The
mm,
only Wonder Woman I've seen is, which has been done by Gail.
mm,
So
mm,
I guess, in my opinion, I mean, as she's the first one that I've seen,
mm.
I haven't even seen the comics.
If you had seen the Justice League cartoon, there was a
Mhm.
cartoon by
Yeah.
Bruce Timm and his team.
Yeah.
The Justice League and Justice League Unlimited cartoon,
Mm.
the actress who portrays her, the voice actress, and the way they drew her,
Yeah.
she's very powerful in that and strong,
Okay.
and she's amazing in that. And that's my favorite version of her. And also Linda Carter's portrayal of Wonder Woman was
Yeah.
quite like Linda Carter's great as Wonder Woman. That's just a
Yeah.
classic.
Yeah.
But obviously they also feminized her character a lot because it's that period of the time. So they made her a
Mm.
little bit more of a kind of there was a glamorous aspect to her Wonder Woman.
Okay.
So this Wonder Woman's trying to bring that Amazonian and that glamour. Like that
Okay.
beauty.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's trying to get this one's trying to get that balance. So this 80s version of it,
Yeah.
had that. And ironically, there's a mid-credit scene. So this is another spoiler alert. Linda Carter actually plays an ancient ancestor of
Asteria.
Asteria. She plays this character called Asteria who wore the original armor. So that armor that you're seeing in the trailers was built so that Asteria stayed behind to fight the men off who were like evil, while the Amazonians retreated to their island. So basically, they were under Darkseid's, not Darkseid's thrall. They were
Mm.
under Ares's influence. So
Okay.
because of Ares's influence, the Amazonians had to retreat with Zeus because it was Zeus's, allies. So he was saving them. So Zeus ended up falling in love with Hippolyta and had Diana
Mm.
as the weapon against Ares because Ares was the lost god. And at the very end, Zeus used all of his lightning to basically shoot Ares down from Mount Olympus and basically sort of make him lose his power. So Ares sort of lost his godhood for a while. He was like stuck on Earth. And it was only until he started creating wars with humans that apparently he started getting his powers back. Or
Mm.
something like that. So he ended up killing pretty much everybody. Even though he did help fight um he did help ally with the humans to defeat Darkseid. So we're
Yeah.
gonna get to see that war. We're gonna see Darkseid when he was called Uxas. So we're gonna see all those new scenes in the new version of Zack Snyder's Justice League. So that's gonna be really cool. And yeah, that bit was really fun when she saved that girl. She told her to keep it a secret and stuff. That was really fun.
Oh yeah.
So all of
You
that,
mean
those
at the
bits are
at the mall?
nice.
You
Yeah,
mean?
the mall bit was really nice.
That was
I
cute.
really enjoyed that bit. That bit was like very lively and jovial and heroic, and I really liked it. I really liked the scene where Wonder Woman appeared and saved everybody in London. That bit when the terrorists tried to basically shoot that room full of hostages, and they were gonna basically like set off some kind of a device or something, but she came and saved them. That bit was very cool as well. But this one kind of tops that. This bit was really fun. I just like, like this film has so much lasso work on it. That's my only criticism of this film is that every other scene Diana's using the lasso, so the lasso kind of gets overused in this film. Like, so she's not really using her sword or the shield, she's just using her lasso. And she hardly ever uses her bracelets, to deflect stuff. She does do it in good ways. Like, I like the bit in the White House scene where she ejects from the chamber of a 1911 the bullet, and then she ends up smacking the bullet with her bracelet, and it hits a vase. That's a really good photography, nice slow mo, really really good pacing. So after the mall scene, we're introduced to Minerva, who's basically played by Kristen Wiig, and initially I thought this was a miscast. Like, I still kind of think Kristen Wiig was kind of like the wrong choice to play Minerva. But the way they approach Minerva being this kind of like unsure kind of character, this introvert who basically wanted to be Diana, my only criticism of that is that she's only literally met Diana for like maybe a day. And then after she's met Diana, suddenly she wants to be like this woman. That bit doesn't really evolve. The passage of time is too short for her to form any kind of like realistic opinion of Diana. If they had some scenes set up where Minerva tries to impress people, but then Diana does very little, but everyone gives Diana the attention and ignores her, then that would have made more sense. There would have been some kind of animosity and a feeling of, oh, but we
But this is
prepared this
this is this
together.
is where Barbara, even though the scene wasn't there, but she felt it because
Mm,
she invited her for lunch. I mean, the way she was wearing her heels, the way she was went for the lunch, and what they spoke about, and then when she saved her, from that drunkard man. I mean, the scenes were not there, but the small things is kind of
mm,
like shown.
mm,
So I guess, and that's where, and she was not even wanted by people. Like, people don't see her,
mm,
and she can sense it. Like, people see her, and she
mm.
assumed it, and she wanted her life, and that's when she wished for that.
Yeah, yeah.
So
So she's wishing the life of a person that she hardly knows. That's the thing
basically,
that
she
I'm.
just want to be known.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean,
But then
and
she suddenly becomes like, they dress her differently, they make her look more attractive, and then she beats the shit out of the guy who tried to, like harass her,
yeah.
that's a good scene. But then she basically
I
becomes
remember
like,
when you were like, beat him
yeah, I don't like
up.
dickheads like that who try to like, um, act like dickheads,
Douchebag. Sorry.
douchebag kind of dudes, man. Like,
Are we allowed to use all this word?
yeah, we can do whatever we want. It's my show, you know.
Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah. So basically, like, that was the one thing I felt was a bit of a plot hole. But
Hmm.
from Pre's perspective, she's seeing it in a different way. So everyone will interpret it
I mean,
differently.
everybody will have different. At the end
Yeah.
of the day, you know more about what needs to be done. Yeah. I
Mm,
mean, you've been there in the industry like longer, of course. Like, you
mm.
know better. You have
No, but just
experience.
from a story
Yeah.
perspective as well, like if you understood it, then it means it worked. But for me, sometimes I look for a sort of slightly deeper
Different.
motivation for
Yeah.
her to become like powerful like that. Inadvertently though, touching the crystal before they knew what it was causes them both to get their wishes. So, Barbara Minerva gets the abilities very similar to Diana. So she slowly
Hmm.
starts to get Amazonian strength and vitality, and also, like, the dexterity and wisdom. And Diana starts losing her abilities, but she gets Steve back. So Steve gets kind of reincarnated or sort of like temporarily possessing this other guy's
Now,
body.
in the scene when Diana was departing with Steve,
Mm.
now I will agree with you that she could have acted a little bit more. That part
Oh, you
should
mean at the very end when?
at the end when
Yeah, that was
Steve,
hammy as hell. I
because
have to say.
Steve was a good actor.
Yeah,
He
Chris is
showed,
great. Chris is one of the
yeah,
best actors in the business
he
right
shown
now.
his emotion. He was
Yeah,
telling Wonder Woman, like, the world needs you. You need to
yeah,
sacrifice me.
yeah,
But at that scene, I will agree with you that Wonder Woman Diana,
yeah. Gal
Uh,
Gadot.
yeah.
Yeah.
She could have done a little bit better because that was an emotional scene, you need to touch the heart of the viewers to make them cry, you know what I mean.
I know, and she didn't. It didn't feel like
She
she has done that.
Yeah.
Like she hasn't cried or felt so
Yeah,
much. You
so
know.
that in that scene I will agree to Ray that if she could have done a little bit better, or somebody else who can act that scene better, because that part is a very emotional scene,
Mm,
because she wished for him to come back, and now she's departing at that scene, and
mm,
she's going to go and save the world. So that scene, it should be able to make me cry.
mm.
You should be able to, okay, it's like a departing scene,
Exactly.
and
I mean, it was even better in the first film when he
mm,
died the first time.
yeah,
So it's
so
kind of retreading on like stuff that already happened. So
yeah.
bringing Steve Trevor back kind of hurt the film as well. As much as we'd love to see Chris in 1980, so those scenes in the 1980s where he's getting used to 1980, he's experienced the escalator for the first time, a fighter jet and stuff, things like that. They're very
Mm.
fun scenes.
So that part I would say, like, it would have been a little bit done, a little bit more better, because you need to touch the heart of the viewers
Mm,
to make it emotional. But I
mm,
didn't feel that emotion from her.
mm.
It was more like a part of the scene.
Yeah. Also, Diana's ability to suddenly make things invisible because she was trying to channel it and learn it is very interesting because she can make the jet invisible. So, another spoiler alert is that Wonder
Oh.
Woman's invisible jet actually appears in the film, but not as the way you think it is. She has like a Tornado GR4 or something that she owns from her money that she must have hidden away, and her and Steve kind of nick it, or she uses it but without permission or something, and then she makes it invisible. So then they go. There's a Fourth of July sort of like firework display. They fly through
That
it.
scene
That's a
was
really nice
nice.
bit.
I
That
like
bit's
the
really
scene
good.
where all the fireworks is going and they were
Yeah.
flying among the fireworks,
That was
and
kind of
then
like a nice. It's very similar to when Jason Momoa and Amber Heard arrive at Atlantis. It's very
mm,
similar, very colorful like that. So DC's adding a lot of color back to their films.
I like that scene with the
Yeah,
fireworks. It was nice.
yeah. But if she could make things invisible, then why didn't she just make Batman's ship invisible in Justice League so they could have just snuck up on Darkseid and his not Darkseid, sorry, Steppenwolf and his parademons? So there's a bit of a
Good
continuity error
question.
there. Like so you're adding new abilities that can be useful later. She could have just cloaked herself or something. Like she could have made a shroud that she imbued with that magic, and then she could have just worn it and then snuck up and stabbed Steppenwolf in the back of the head or something, and then stopped the invasion from occurring, and the mother boxes wouldn't have been stolen. So that's interesting. That's something that could be could be, construed as another plot hole. The other thing is Max Lord's ability and the way he convinces people is kind of cool because what he does is he likes Barbara, but he uses that to get into Barbara's office, and then he absorbs
I don't
the
think she likes
Dreamstone.
Barbara. I think she used Barbara
He
to.
used Barbara, but I think he had a flirtatious liking of her.
I
But it
didn't.
wasn't it wasn't the kind of like, oh, I love you, we're having a thing. He was kind of using her with his charm, but he also
Mm.
had like a little bit of an attraction to her.
Barbara likes
Barbara liked him more
Barbara
though.
likes Max, but
Yeah.
Max liking Barbara, I'm not sure about that.
Yeah, but not liking him in the way like liking him. Like he didn't like her in the sense that he's like, oh, I want to be with her. He liked her enough to kind of use her. You
Mm-hmm.
get what I'm trying to say.
Mm.
So he ends up absorbing the Dreamstone, and then he essentially is the Dreamstone. So what he does is he makes people wish stuff. And then that's how he gets strength, but it starts wearing and taxing his body.
Mm.
So he gets
But this
everything
is
he
when they
wants.
realizes from when he went to that White House, and
Mm.
they realized that the U.S. satellite broadcast system can transmit signals globally,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
then he wanted to
Yeah.
do that and grant wishes to the entire world,
Mm.
so he can regain his deteriorating health,
Yeah, yeah,
and he
yeah.
manages to do that,
Yeah.
and
I mean,
yeah.
the film has a the film is so familiar. It really feels like Superman 2, this film. Because Superman 2, there's an attack on the White House. Superman loses his powers, so Diana's
The
losing her powers.
same, the
Then he gets
same.
his powers back by wishing himself not to have a relationship with Lois. Kind of the same thing that happens with Steve. So actually, this film's kind of like a carbon copy or a homage to Superman 2. And
Hmm.
that's why it kind of works, because what they're trying to do is recreate the magic of that one. And the bit when they're in Cairo is quite cool as well, where Diana tries to take out this convoy that Max Lord now kind of owns, because he makes a Egyptian leader who had the oil
Hmm.
to basically wall off his kingdom and giving his oil and assets and men to him. So Max ends up absorbing his gold supply, like his I think I just yawned, like so like a late one for me, but basically uh he essentially basically takes over half the oil of the world, and that creates this massive, like rioting and like destabilization of the world. Everyone's going crazy. He even ends up talking to the president and convincing the president to give him like all the power
Yeah.
and like sovereignty like a small nation, and the president gives it to him because they're all mesmerized by his kind of hypnotic wish ability. Pedro is really good in it, man, because he's done a lot with what would be quite a one-dimensional villain, you
Hmm.
know. So a lot of the DC villains have been quite good. Like they've been like in Shazam, like Mark Strong played that villain quite good, because that kid wanted to be the chosen one, but Shazam never gave him the chance. So when Billy got it, it was more of a kind of desperation. Like Billy was the chosen one, but he was kind of not using his Shazam powers properly. But when um, the deadly sins go inside Mark Strong's character, he also becomes uh, very strong. So I think his name is Dr. Savant or something like that. But basically, that film's really good too, and they both are very similar, where the villain is actually has a lot more layers to his life, because his dad is a douchebag. Ironically, John Glover plays his father in that, and he
Hmm.
played an amazing Lionel Luthor in Smallville, and he was one of the highlights of the series, isn't it? Pretty like
Yes,
he's just so good in that,
he is.
and Smallville's just like an amazing show. I really hope that they make a revival season at least to wrap it up, because I'd love to see Tom in a suit, or if they do another Crisis in the Arrowverse, I'd like to see Tom in some kind of a suit playing Superman, maybe a jacket version of the suit with a smaller cape, or he doesn't wear a cape, he just wears this kind of jacket version of his Superman outfit. It would be really cool, like if all the different Supermen come together, and he'd be one of the Supermen to help. So I would really love that a lot, to just see
And
him
because of
fly.
Ray, I'm so addicted to Smallville, trust me.
Smallville's great. We reached season 10 with Brie now.
Yeah.
I've done many, many marathons of that show, and I really love it. I mean, I was hooked on season 1, and first time I saw it was on E4, so it was very, very, very cool. And then, like, sort of like, watched them gradually as the show growed, and I loved it a lot.
Mm.
And the DC expanded universe, the movie universe, is great. um, it's a little bit hit and miss. They've had a bumpy road. Like the first Batman versus Superman could have been better. When I first started House of R.E.P, I was quite critical of it. I explained what they did wrong, what they did right. I might revisit that because it was in written form before the show launched as a podcast. So I'll come back to that, and how I would have done the DC universe. Like Zach has a vision, seeing his vision fully realized would be great. So I do want to see that. I want to see him finish Justice League and then perhaps do the sequel. I want to see where he would go with the characters. I do like Ben Affleck as Batman. I think he's one of the best Batman that we've seen in a long time.
Hmm.
Robert Patty, let's see if he does good. And I'm quite impressed by what I'm seeing on the trailer. The tonality of that new Batman film looks good. It's just a bit different. It's not going to be in the same universe, but now that they're launching the multiverse, they're tying everything together with the TV shows and the movies. Like in the Crisis, you saw the two Flashes meet, so that would be really great. That's fertile territory to have some of the TV actors and the film actors mellow together or team up in some movie. But yeah, Just trying to think of other standout scenes. The White House battle's really
No, the
cool.
last scene, when remember the last scene when Diana confronts Max and uses her lasso of truth, which we didn't know
Mm.
before. She was
Mm.
trying to communicate with the world, like via him, like to renounce their wishes.
Mm.
And
Mm.
when she was doing that, Max goes through remembers what trauma he has gone through.
Mm.
So because of what he has faced in his life, it kind of like pushed him to reach this level. So he
Mm.
had
Mm.
like a unhappy past, like a social outcast. He had an
Mm.
abusive father. Everything
Mm.
came back, and then his own son, Alistair, like wandering the streets terrified, and that made him kind of like change his mind because inside, deep down inside, he had a soft, good heart.
Mm.
So it
Mm.
kind of like reached there,
Yeah.
and then via that lasso of truth, like Diana was trying to talk to everybody, like
Mm.
to renounce their wishes.
Yeah, everyone renounced it, which was really
Yeah.
nice. That was a nice
And
humanity moment.
yes, and the way it was, the light, that light,
That golden
that
energy.
golden light energy
Yeah.
shown to everybody, that scene was nice
That was
actually.
a nice bit. That was a nice bit. We got
Yeah.
to see like an 80s version of Piccadilly
Oh
Circus, and I remember that as a
yeah.
kid, the layout of that one. The other thing also is Diana uses the armor at the end, because we saw that in the trailer heavily, the golden armor. She
Mm.
fights Cheetah, who
Apex
Minerva
Predator.
becomes because she asks for another a wish, but they have a cheetah fight, but it's so dark. I tell you that bit, yeah, is the biggest criticism. Like, as in
Uh,
loses another star just because of that scene, because it's so dark, you can't
Ray,
really see
Ray,
what
Ray
the
kept
hell's going
saying,
on.
"What's going on, honey? I can't
Yeah,
see. I can't." I'm like,
there's no
We can't."
light. Like they've done it on purpose. They're saying, okay, it's just the base lights and the
Mm.
moonlight and stuff, and that was like a creative decision. But me, I would have had some sparks or some lights, to see some more, some more of the fight. And the fight is very short. Again, the lasso comes into play.
That's where
You
I
know,
want to say, like, the next Wonder Woman, please give it to Ray.
that would be cool. I would do a great job. I'd have Superman and Batman team up with a.
uh,
I do some kind of Trinity mission.
just give Ray the
Yeah,
chance.
I'm also not sure whether or not she should, like end up with Batman, or she should be with Superman, because sometimes they do that thing where like
Superman.
Superman's
Oh
with
no no
no,
no!
but Superman's with
No, I
Lois, isn't
want
it?
Superman with Lois. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, in some
Maybe
in
Batman.
the New
Yeah.
52, they were together for a
No
bit.
no no!
But I
I
always think
want
Batman and her make a good
no
couple.
Superman and Lois. That's
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah.
Nobody else.
I think Batman and Wonder Woman make a good couple. Because she
Yeah.
reminds him of Steve a bit, and
Yeah.
also Batman's cool, man, because he's like a human. So she kind of really respects him because he's like, he doesn't have any powers yet. He still can
Hmm.
play with the, like fight the gods and stuff. So he's like a man who can actually make a difference. So he was always respected Bruce for that. Because
Hmm.
he's yeah, it's very interesting. It's a very interesting dynamic, and I'd like to play with that, and I'd like to see how they would interact if they had, if it was just them, if they did some kind of detective film together or something. I'd make it like a kind of like a crime caper or something cool. So with that kind of demigod kind of bat kind of twist, it'd be kind of sick.
Hmm.
So yeah. I'm just trying to think, like, what else, what other kind of things are in the film that are kind of hit and miss. Uh, oh, the armor. I don't like the design of it. I have to be very, very, very honest.
Yeah.
The design of the armor just doesn't fit Gal Gadot properly. She's lost in the armor, and
Hmm.
that's like another thing about preparation for
But
the
I
role.
like when she came from among the clouds with
That bit was cool,
that the
but suddenly she
wings.
can now fly because like she can lasso clouds and she can lasso lightning,
Mm,
and then suddenly in between it she can kind of float fly. So she
mm,
kind of pulls her way and flies, kind of like Thor. So they've kind of done that Thor aspect with the way Wonder Woman flies, because Thor flies by throwing his hammer in front of him and using the inertia to fly. So they both fly very differently to the way Superman flies, because Superman's a Kryptonian. He can push himself away from the Earth, and control his ability to stay on the Earth, or he can basically defy the laws of physics. Wonder Woman is a little bit more tied to the Earth, I guess, and it's a little bit more magical. Yeah, the way she defeats Kristen Wiig's character is a little bit kind of anticlimactic. She just kind of electrocutes her in the water because she refuses to listen to her, like and renounce the wish. But then she ends up renouncing the wish, which is very interesting. So I still think Kristen Wiig just doesn't. She just didn't do it for me as Chia.
Yeah,
I think she's
I
better.
think she portrayed some of the character that she played at Bridesmaid.
Yeah, those nuances. She's a better comedic actress, but she's
Yes,
not.
not
She's not a good serious
like a
actress.
action, yeah,
Yeah, and I
because
know she's trying to move
she
into
did
that, but it
portray
doesn't work.
she did portray some of the scene, like how she reacted at Bridesmaid. She did a really good job,
Bridesmaids is a funny film.
yeah, it was funny. And this one she tried, yeah, she tried, so not too bad. But I guess somebody else could have done again. I mean, she
Yeah,
tried. I wouldn't say it was bad.
mm,
She tried. It was a good, not bad.
yeah, yeah. Do you think that this sequel is better than the first one? I think the first
Hmm.
film was better, even though I love the '80s time zone, and I still think Maxwell Lord and everything that he does
Hmm.
is weaker than all the wicked World War I stuff, because
Hmm.
World War I is a kind of very fertile and sort of like a sort of unexplored area in the DC universe. We didn't see much of that, so
Hmm.
seeing Wonder Woman taking out all these soldiers and stuff, that was cool. That trench
I'm
coat was.
kind of like 50-50 because both have plus and minus.
Mm,
I mean, in this new
mm,
second movie, I like the opening scene a lot.
mm,
First movie was good in most of the scene as well,
we have
but
to review that. We haven't reviewed that
yeah,
one
we will
yet.
do that definitely. So I'm kind of like 50-50. There's plus and minus in both, I would say.
Mm.
So yeah.
All right, so let's wrap this up. Let's give it some shield. So, would you like to go first, Brie?
No, this time you're gonna go.
Okay. Let me think. 3.5. Because it lost two. Three actually. One for those kind of weird plot holes, with like her abilities kind of manifesting. Some of the things are kind of rehashed from other films I've already seen. You know, the battle scene at the end could have been a lot better. They could have been a better villain. They could have
Hmm.
been a better villain. Yeah, so I think 3.5 would be my score. Good, but could have been better. Yeah, highly watchable, but
Yeah.
it just adds to that kind of DC universe. But it doesn't. It doesn't really. It never. Unfortunately, it hasn't blown me away like Aquaman did. Like
Oh
I
my
liked
god,
Aquaman a lot.
Aquaman was the best.
Aquaman was very fun.
Some people critic bad,
Some people hate it, but I loved it.
I even loved it as well. It
Yeah, I
was
thought it was sick,
amazing. We need
man.
to, review that.
Yeah,
It
Aquaman by far is my favorite DC film, and he's not even one of my favorite characters. Now he's one of my top characters
Mhm.
because Aquaman before was kind of like this blonde
Did
guy,
you remember we saw
you know.
Aquaman like when it was upstairs, like Armdas in London? What was that event again?
We saw Aquaman in that. Did we see it in Cinema D, where the walls were also the water?
No, I'm talking about the actor Aquaman. We saw him
Oh,
in
Jason
real life.
Momoa.
Yes.
Yeah, I saw Jason Momoa chilling on some balcony during this
Yes.
Comic Con that we went to,
Yeah.
but I couldn't see him because, he was behind this massive autograph kind of gate where you gotta pay to
But we saw him
just
like
see the
literally
guy.
when he was in the
Yeah, yeah, I think
balcony,
it was him. He was just chilling and stuff,
chilling there.
trying to get some air or something. He's like, "Man, get me
We
out of
saw
here,"
you, Aquaman.
But Jason's done this for a while, man. I mean, I still loved him from the days is when he was playing Ronan Dex in Atlantis. It's like one of
Hmm.
my most favorite shows, and I'll do a really thorough review of that
Yeah.
show, and Stargate, because Stargate's amazing, and Stargate needs to return. I have two series that I can make for Stargate that I want MGM to kind of get in the room with me and see if we can hash it out, because the right now Stargate Origins is a terrible way to go, and I want to bring it back into the kind of gate world, kind of going around the galaxies, man, and fix that Destiny plot hole as well. So we have to see what's going on with that ship after a few years of hibernation. So yeah, it's cool. So Wonder Woman score, Pre.
Uh-oh.
Give me your Valkyrie's opinion.
Wow. Okay. Now, because of the opening scene, and because of the humanity script at the end, um, I'm gonna give, and of course because of the fireworks, I'm gonna give 4, honey.
4. Okay, cool.
Yeah,
So mine is 3.5. Yours is 4. So this film gets a 4. Yeah, so not bad. Highly watchable. I recommend you see it wherever it's available, and definitely check it out. It's worth the watch.
definitely enjoy, guys.
Mm. And standout performances from Chris Pine. Like he was really good. Pedro Pascal did an amazing job. Patty Jenkins' direction was amazing. The other Amazonian players, like the other stunt people, background actors, supporting actors, they were amazing. Really good stuff. Really good stuff from this film. Some good actors, some good stuff. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Definitely, you should watch
So
it, guys. It's a nice movie. It's not bad.
yeah, so oh, also Robin Wright is in this, not Daryl Hannah. I mix them up sometimes. So Robin Wright is amazing in this as her aunt, and you know, uh, Connie Nelson is very good as well as Hippolyta. So she
Yes.
plays her mum really well. Now Connie Nelson's an amazing actress. So to see her as Hippolyta
I
again was
want to
really
see
good.
more of these two ladies' action in
Well,
the
they're
next
amazing.
one.
They're actually veteran actresses who have
I
worked in a
know,
lot of
but
90s and 80s films.
I want to
So
see more of them as
yeah,
well.
yeah, yeah. I actually would like to see that in the third film.
Yeah,
Maybe they go on a mission with Diana. Diana learned to use her bracelets for
yeah.
the first time, and stuff like that. So that would be a really cool
Because
opening
the
scene.
character like
Yeah,
Connie and Robin portrays, it's
yeah.
amazing. I mean, I would definitely say they are better than Gal. Sorry to say this,
Mm,
but
mm.
they seem more like the Amazonian,
They imbue that
the
powerful
that
woman.
that
Both of them are very powerful women,
yes,
just like normally as well.
they
So
look
they
like
have
that.
it. They
Yes,
have that kind of hunger
yeah,
and that power.
they look like the
Yeah,
real warriors of the Amazon.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Coney had that look, that passion,
yeah.
that fear, that not fear, the how do you say it? In the eye? What do you call you?
Fire,
The
that
fire,
fire in the
yeah.
heart.
They see it. I can see that in Coney. I can see that in Robin.
Mm,
Gail, she's trying.
mm,
I wouldn't say she's bad. She's still
mm,
good, but Coney and Robin hits it more.
True, true.
So yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, that's pretty much it. Check out this film and check out episodes of Thor, our great show. We love it, when you guys tune in. So sub, share, and like where you can, and just let people know that Thor's out there. It's a really great show. We're growing. We've had a stellar year, and we're not stepping off the gas pedal. We're still gonna bang these out. So yeah. It's going to be a really great time. So definitely stay tuned for another great episode of the House of Rep. And I want to thank Pri for joining me.
Thank
And I
you.
want to, just thank everyone out there who's checking the show out. So, yeah, we'll see you on
Thank
the
you
next
guys
one,
for your
guys.
support.
All right, guys. See you on the
Bye.
next one. Bye.